going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris. Welcome to the Author's Lounge. The world is filled with storytellers, and I, along with my guests, are here today in the Author's Lounge to help educate and inspire the young generation of writers and creators. Now, my guests are professionals in publishing, writers from a wide range of formats, and successful entertainers. They will provide beneficial advice on what to do and what not to do on your path to success. So, without further ado, I'll present to you our next guest. Let's go. Man, it's such a great feeling when you can blend the publishing world with the entertainment industry and you find just a hub of creators within both to bring such an impactful message to the viewers of this show. I want to first start by saying thank you to my guest for taking the time out of his day to come by. And thank you all as well for taking a moment out of your day to tune into today's episode. So today I have a filmmaker. He is a director, he is a producer, he is a screenwriter, and he's an actor. And he is all for his upcoming film, All Hail Anastasia, set to release Juneteenth. So I do have a trailer I'm going to share later in this episode. So please stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I present to you the wonderful Mr. Steve Dudley. What's going on,
Hi,
man?
buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very well. I'm ecstatic to know that I get to talk to another filmmaker. Every time I talk to people in the industry, it gives me just this such energy, man, because I miss being in the industry, and I'm just clawing. I'm working on a movie now, screenwriter one for Mansoor, and I can't wait to get my heels back into it. But let's talk about you. How are you feeling
I'm
today?
feeling great. I'm feeling your energy, so it's infectious. I love it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That kind of happens a lot. I just throw my energy at people. Imagine if this was in person, I
I
probably
love
would
it.
just grab you by the arms, like, "Let's go!" No, but thank you so much for coming on board, Steve. And I know you have a super busy schedule, just between personal and professional. So I'm going to respect your time and hop right into it. So, with filmmaking, right? There's so many layers to it. With you having four hats within the scope of your movie of All Hell Anastasia. Let's start with that. Where did the concept of the movie come from for you to create this film?
Yeah, for sure. So I knew I wanted to create something that I could fund myself. So that was a
Mhm.
big kind of constraint that I was working with. So keeping it low budget. I also wanted to make something that meant something to me. And it started
Mhm.
out, funny enough, and the story evolved just like all screenwriting does. But this story, it finally got told, so we can kind of see where it was. But it started out as a story of the most scary thing I could think of, which would be losing my
Mhm.
child. I've got two beautiful daughters, and I just started writing from a place of kind of fear and
Mhm.
what that looked like. And originally, I was thinking more of kind of thriller horror. Ended up being more like drama thriller. So it like shifted
Yeah.
on the pendulum or the scale, I guess. Um, but originally, yeah, it was kind of a very scary thriller horror about losing a child. And then
Mhm.
I started bringing in a good friend of mine, my co-writer and co-director, and we started shifting the story and starting to see, and it started manipulating, and it just got so much more dense, and
Mhm.
it became what it was, which is kind of a story about grief and how you will go through the emotions and what it's what it's really like to lose a daughter. And so we had
Mhm.
two kind of fathers protecting their daughters, um, and a central figure, Anastasia, in the middle that lost everything. Um, and yeah, it just became super powerful. The deeper we went, it
Yeah.
became more and more powerful, and we just kind of let ourselves go to the story. Um, and it was
Mhm.
incredible. Yeah.
That's what I love about just aside from directing it and producing it, and getting the actors. That's the creation of the story, man. It's from one writer to the next, man. I genuinely really love how the formulation of a story comes together, and then once you actually put pen to paper, or in this case, keyboard to word print, it's once it starts to gel and the story goes in a completely different direction that you didn't even think it was going to go in. Like you have this idea of, okay, it's going to be about this. I'd like to go in this direction, but once you get to rolling, man, you just never know. But what's really good about what you're saying, is that you collaborated too. A lot of writers work by themselves and they don't necessarily understand how important it is for teamwork, especially in filmmaking. Like, so for you, how important of it, like, for you, was it that you had somewhat of a team put together for this film?
It was everything. It wouldn't have come to life if it wasn't for the team. So it was three of us at the start: Tyler, Kadar, and I. Um, and without them, they know this. It wouldn't have been made. They're
Hmm.
so deeply rooted in the entertainment industry here in Atlanta. It
Hmm.
just never would have come to fruition without them. And I mean, the story would have been there. That it would have evolved differently too. Because I kind of what ended up happening is we brought in different stories from different worlds. I'm a white guy from
Hmm.
England, scared about losing his daughter, and then we started bringing in kind of an Atlanta, a black story of a black woman, and someone in the film that I was having an affair
Hmm.
with. Um, and then it just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And I couldn't have been able to tell a story
Hmm.
about a black woman and what she felt without having their their guidance and their
Exactly.
love that they poured into this with me. It just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same. It's kind of like that Denzel Washington thing. It's like there's that famous clip of him. He's like he corrects an interviewer. He's like, "Well, look, I forget what film it is, but
Hmm.
he was like, there's a reason why Spielberg directed Schindler's List, right?
Hmm.
There's a certain avenue that you know about, and it's cultural. And it has nothing to do of race and color and the physicality of it. It's a cultural element, and I never would have been
Hmm.
able to write or even come close to writing or directing the cultural element of the story we told. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the team thing was amazing. It was incredible. It was such a cool experience.
Man, I'm in awe of this moment right now because it's so true, right? So my wife, right? She's Mexican American, and one of the stories that I wrote was of a Latina, a young Hispanic female, and just capturing the culture. Well, to be fair, I ghost wrote it. I did it for my niece. My niece kind of gave me the story. She gave me ideas, and then I ghost wrote it. But I completely removed myself from the equation because I didn't feel like any of that attention needed to be on me. But to your point, I wouldn't even understand the direction of like clothing and how the picture should look and how the conversation should go and the dialect between the two and how it should be written and even it being released in Spanish. And versus it just being in English for it. So I definitely get it. The collaboration piece when it comes to a cultural aspect that you may not have any idea, but still tell the truth. Like your truth was, this is my fear of losing my kid, dude. I can relate to that. I get paranoid quite literally on a daily basis. You
Oh
too?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's real. I mean, one of the I'd say only good things about social media. Made me hyper aware to protect my girls and my wife too,
Hmm.
but like my family in general and all the
Hmm.
craziness that's out there that is like it's more prevalent. And I'm like, there's so many things that like scare me now, because
Yeah.
I'm terrified every day. Every day I'm terrified.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you and me both. And it's for whatever reason. This is just like 2 weeks ago. And I live on a military installation, and there was a notification that went out that said that there was this mysterious truck or van that was parked near the school. That it was just super suspicious, and they were trying to lure kids into that van. And it reminded me of this movie Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke. And yeah, you've seen that
Yeah.
movie? Did that not make you more paranoid, like as a parent, right?
100%. Well, I feel like there's so many films now that I'm like, oh my God, my goodness, like
Yeah,
no. If I got that
it's
message, I'd be running to school, like you know.
yeah. No, for sure, for sure. They were able to like, I guess, detain the person without it because I didn't hear about it until like afterwards. But like, it's scary, man. But to your point, being able to write about your fear and that there's truth to it, and I think there's a lot of truth in storytelling, and that's is how it can become more organic. So with that being said, right, the you worked with a black cast and were able to really tell a poignant story. And good on you as well for deciding, you know what, this is, I understand I want to tell it in this way, but you know what, maybe it's okay for it to look different. And because some people struggle with that idea of representation, so that does matter. But for you, you also really want this film to be released on Juneteenth. So why exactly is that day particularly important with All Hail Anastasia releasing on that day?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's synonymous with the messaging. It's primarily a film about a black family going through grief. That's the primary
Hmm.
of the story, and it's a story about how a white man kind of takes advantage of a black woman as well. And so there's lots of vines and trickling of Black American culture, and it
Hmm.
we had another opportunity to release it kind of closer to the start of the year, but it didn't end up working out. And so, kind of fate, God, energies, whatever you believe in, it
Hmm.
kind of drew me to this moment, and it all just made sense because this really is the best part of this story is about a black family. To be honest,
Hmm.
like my part of the story is maybe the instigator. It's maybe that uh, uh, it's a little bit of tinder. It's Kindle. It lights the flame. But the real story is about the tragedy of Anastasia and what happened with her
Hmm.
family and kind of how they all reacted differently to her death.
Hmm.
And so that's the more important element of it. Um, and in
Okay.
terms of what you said of like collaboration, is this whole film for me was about letting go. I knew I wanted to make a film, and it didn't have to be the perfect film. It just needed to be a great film. And my story alone wasn't great. It wasn't until kind of we enhanced it with collaborative minds that it actually started to become great.
Hmm.
And the depth of that story. This whole film, for me personally, my personal mission of the film was
Hmm.
was letting go and just creating something as beautiful as possible. Um, Even though it's not necessarily my story, it's a
Hmm.
story that I think will resonate with a lot of people. Um, its main message is how we handle grief, and that means a
Hmm.
lot to me, and I think it means a lot to a lot of people. It's pretty synonymous because we're all human.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, yeah.
On that note, I think this is a perfect time and segue to get ready to share this trailer. I'm looking forward to everyone watching this piece of it. So what I'm going to present to you is All Hell Anastasia, set to launch in just a few days, on Juneteenth. So you all sit back and enjoy this trailer.
Is this because you love me?
Oh no, no, get out of here.
You win.
The lady said that the dog won't bite. The dog won't bite unless you cross this line. Cross this line, and even I can't help you.
There you all have it. You all got an opportunity to see this wonderful film. This movie will be available on Amazon Prime. And I definitely got to ask how that process was for you, and as well as what your goal is for this film for it to continue to grow and be on other platforms. But congratulations on getting it to Amazon. Before I press any further, I gotta ask the question because though this project looks fantastic, I'm sure there were some trials and tribulations, some struggles that you went through that you encountered. So let's talk about it. If that were the case for you, what was that like? This entire
Yeah, for
journey.
sure. This entire journey was like the epitome of an indie debut film. There was I
Hmm.
made so many mistakes. I have so many regrets.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like I made every single mistake in the book, and yet somehow we ended here. You know, we're about to launch. About everyone's about to get to see the film, um, and yet I feel like I failed so many times. You
Hmm.
know, it's such a weird concept. I mean, you can take any cliche indie film struggle, and I hit that note for sure. I mean,
Hmm.
we even went up against the strikes just as we were about to launch it. All of a sudden, strike, and we had
Yeah.
to hammer so hard to try and get through and get that paperwork done where indie films could actually still film. Um,
Hmm.
oh man, and that was a struggle. Funding was a struggle. Ended up self-funding. We were over budget. Um, we lost some footage.
Oh.
We didn't
Oh.
get the footage that we wanted, or we
Dang.
were strapped for time. We didn't have we shot in 9 days, and then plus I did one extra day afterwards as well after we reviewed all the footage. Um,
Hmm.
and so we kind of I mishandled that. I feel like I mishandled literally everything, and yet kind of we're here and we did it. I'm so excited for it to be
Yeah.
here, uh, but like there's no way there's no way of knowing without failing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I'm kind of glad I failed and hit so many hurdles. At the same time,
Hmm.
having humongous regrets and wish I could do it all over again. Because if I did it all over again, I probably wouldn't make this film. I probably wouldn't
Hmm.
have done anything really. But I wouldn't know that unless I did it. And so
Yeah,
it's
for
kind
sure.
of chicken or the egg. I don't know.
Yeah. So with that, right? Because you wore so many hats, which part of it was the most difficult? Was it the director piece, the producing piece, acting, or the screenwriting?
Um, Screenwriting, I thought was the easiest, just because I love it. It's kind of,
Hmm.
yeah, I love writing. I think writing comes to me pretty naturally. And then also, I've worked with a writer and collaborating on something like this was beautiful to do. And then the
Hmm.
directing, we kind of went through everything that we thought we wanted to see, and then we kind of
Hmm.
co-directed because I was in scenes and the acting. I love the acting part too.
Hmm.
Um, I felt now that I look back, I do feel like I wasn't 100% there because I was wearing too many hats, and so that's one of my regrets.
Yeah.
Probably should have
Hmm.
hired an actor instead of acting in it, but you know I can't change
Hmm.
anything now. So that was difficult because I had so much on my mind. The producing part, for sure, 1000% was the hardest. And I
Mm.
was so lucky to have Tyler with me along the journey, because I mean, she was incredible, and we kind of did everything together. And yeah, it was. But in terms of hurdles, most of those hurdles were all from the production side.
Wow.
I also thought that post production was probably the hardest part.
Interesting. What part of that was difficult?
Um, Finalizing the story
Hmm.
and kind of the patience part of it. You have to be really patient on the back end.
Yeah.
And also from a creative part, I didn't realize how taxing it was going to be to think about the right sounds
Hmm.
that complemented the scenes, whether it was from the composer, who was unbelievable, um,
Hmm.
or the sound mixer, who was Kaj, also incredible. Um,
Hmm.
but then adding them all together and the taxing, like in which way they go, and then the coloring too. Oh my goodness! And
Hmm.
going through just all of those parts, finding the right people. Um, I think
Hmm.
now I've said this a couple of times in a couple of different interviews. I think now, if I
Hmm.
were to do it all over again, and I would any new filmmakers, I would tell them to do this. I would start backwards. I would start with my post production team. I would get a post
Hmm.
production supervisor and or producer, post producer, to
Hmm.
line everything up before you go, because
Yeah.
once you get there, you might spend, and for me it was like this case, you might spend 2 months just bringing a team together, and that's two
Hmm.
months that I didn't want to spend, and I had time on the front end. I should
Yeah.
have been doing that, but yeah, post production is so understated. It is the most important part, if you ask me. It is so important. And I'm lucky enough, I had a wonderful team. Um, but yeah, there was so many things we could have done. We could have done better on that side too.
Man, that is one heck of a story. So next thing I wanted to ask you is the composing piece, right? I've always been interested in talking to a composer when it comes to scoring a film. How are you involved in that aspect? Like, do they come to you and maybe in the sound room or wherever they're creating the music and they get your input on, hey, we're writing this music for this scene, for this scene. Are you fully involved, or is it, hey, I trust your judgment. I'll talk to you like during the final mix. What does that look
Yeah, no,
like?
great question. So when it comes to the composer, um, my experience was incredible. But my whole post team was in LA, because my post production producer was in LA, and she had a whole team that she brought together. Um,
Hmm.
so from the composer side, Dallas McKinney is the most beautiful songwriter. It's incredible,
That's
what he put
awesome.
together. He's so beautiful. It made it so hard because all of the things that he put together were so beautiful. I felt bad saying this doesn't quite match this scene. It's not what I kind of heard or put together from a sensory perspective, the visual and
Yeah.
the sound together. So it was
Hmm.
so hard to give him notes because everything he gave me was absolutely beautiful. And I was like, oh, I actually ended up using like version one of something that didn't quite fit that scene. I ended up putting it in like a different part, just because
Hmm.
all his compositions were just so gorgeous. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
the way it works is that he watches the film and he goes through it, and I'll give him notes on where I think some sounds and some music should go. And then we kind of worked together, and we worked on kind of a baseline sound. Uh,
Hmm.
and then we kind of started getting a little bit more technical and what we wanted. And so he's taking all of my verbal vomit basically on the film and what it means to the story and what each scene is and everything. And he's just being like a true artist, and he'll just
Yeah.
start creating beautiful music to match certain things. And then he'd kind of send me something, and we'd review it, and we'd be like, "Yeah, this is really really close. I love the violins, but take out the piano," something like
Hmm.
that. And so he'd sit
Yeah.
with just a violin piece or just instrumentals or whatever it was. Um, and so then we'd kind of pick places throughout the film for him, scenes for him to do, and he'd present something. We'd kind of give him feedback, or sometimes no feedback at all, and just say, "This is perfect." Let's just insert it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's a true artist, and most composers for films are true geniuses of the ears. Um, and
Oh.
they just create a sound for you and music for you, and
Hmm.
you kind of work together to blend it into the film. Uh,
Yeah.
so they're basically taking the
Oh, that's.
words from the emotions of the
Mhm.
words and putting it into song, and it's just the most beautiful experience.
I love the inclusion of music. Just a perfect score for a movie. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. It's almost synonymous with the
Yeah.
film. I really love that. It seems that you have original music for an original
Yep.
story, and I think this is what film goers are really craving. Just and talking to different filmmakers and different people within our business, right? They are from just the feedback is that they want people want fresh material. They want brand new original stories. A lot of remakes are out there. A lot of stories being retold, and it's kind of like, why are we spending money on the same thing that we got like 5 years ago? But that's a lot of the business. So what I really can respect about indie filmmakers, is that there is a place for original material that deserves to be told. I'll go into a bookstore like Barnes and Noble and I'll look around and I'll see there are literally thousands of books here. Everybody has a different story. So my story should be able to fit. This is the same idea when it comes to films, especially in the medium now. Like before streaming like Netflix and Hulu and things came along, you needed to get your stuff. You needed to go through film festivals and you needed to get it greenlit and hope that they would somehow get it put into theaters. Now it's not like that. Now, as you are experiencing with yours being on Amazon Prime, and I'm sure it's going to have even more reach as time progresses. But there's room for creatives out there. I'm sure it makes the market more competitive, but it's all the more the reason why, like the strong survive, and you almost have to get out there and do it yourself, which is the experience you have. So, I know you got a few minutes left, so I'll just ask you just a couple more questions. And thank you again
Yeah.
so much for your
This is
time.
great.
Yeah. So, with this, right, being it's at your directorial debut, is
Yep.
that
Yep.
correct? Any plans for a second?
Um, yeah, I've got a few projects kind of queued up. The idea for this one was to open some doors. And so
Yes,
I'm
sir.
waiting for it to land a little bit and settle so that I've got some data. Because I would like to co-produce and co-direct the next one. Um, I have two things that I absolutely adore that I want to make. Ones, yeah, I won't say what they are, uh,
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
case,
No
just in
worries.
case. But I got a
Yep.
feature film and a series that I'm working on that I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with, and I hope to kind of take this to the next level, because this was true
Hmm.
indie, self-funded. It's going to be self-distributed with my partner Film Hub, uh, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to kind of snowball, and
Hmm.
that's kind of what we want. Is we want this to just be a stepping stone. I don't need to go to the
Yes.
moon straight away. I just want a nice stepping stone so that I can keep working in this industry and keep writing and keep experiencing the beautiful feelings and take all of this knowledge, all this failure that I went through,
Hmm.
and turn it into kind of some positivity uh, and
Oh
then move
yeah.
it into the next project.
Man, just simply by you making that step and creating the art and getting a team together to creating the art, that in itself is a huge accomplishment. It is such a huge accomplishment. Like I think that as an indie creator, is to be revered because it takes a certain tenacity to say, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to get a team together. You have to be courageous to do something like that. Other people might not view it that same way. And they may view, you know what? It's either I got to go this route, the feature film route, and then that's it. But you might fall flat on your face and, that should happen because if it's worth it, you'll get back up and you learn from it. But the indie film is where it should start at and building it up. Whether it becomes a conglomerate or not, it's the idea that me as a person or you as a person are saying that, no, I believe in myself. I took that leap and let's go. Let's see where it takes us. And I am so excited to watch this movie. When I watched the trailer, I really, really liked what I was watching. I showed my wife. She said, that movie, it looks good. I didn't tell her what I was watching. I just put it on there because I just wanted to like look at it as well once she sent it to me. And she said it looked really good. And I said, yeah, I'm going to interview the director of it. At the time, I wasn't sure if you were the director. I just said it because I was like, I think he's the director, but I just said the director. Now I know you're the director of the film. So yeah,
Co-director,
it looks
co-director,
good, brother.
co-director.
Or co-director, sorry. Co-director. Yes, sir.
But yeah, I appreciate that. And I can't take credit for that either because Kat, my editor, put that together and she did a beautiful job with the trailer. So
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
hats off to her.
Sh- Yes, sir. And shout out to your entire team. Shout out to the entire production team and the writers and the actors and the editors and the crew and the if you had extras in the film, the extras as well, and those who were cool with you being on location. And I'm sure there was a lot that went into it. And also you getting on Amazon, I'm sure that was a process
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, for sure. Hey man, well, hey, any closing remarks before I let you go?
Thank you to you. You're incredible. I love your stories. I love your voice. I think your energy and your positivity is infectious. I think you're doing an amazing job. I'm so glad I kind of ran into your little stream that I found, and I'm so grateful for you. So thank you so much.
Man, that's humbling to hear. Thank you, man. Thank you. And please, I know you got to go somewhere in a few minutes. If you could just hold on right after, I just got a couple of quick things to say to you offline. But hey, thank you all so much. Be sure to check out that film, of All Hell Anastasia, launching Juneteenth on Amazon Prime. Be sure to check it out, support it. You need to go back and watch the trailer of this. Feel free to rewind it. It's also on YouTube. Just type in All Hell Anastasia and show some love to Steve Dudley and his team. Hey, on that note, you all take care. Have a wonderful remainder of your day, and I'll catch you next time.